Okay, real talk. I know what you're thinking when someone says, eat your broccoli. You're probably hearing your mom's voice, or a school cafeteria memory, something limp and greenish that made you question vegetables altogether. But here's what nobody told you when you were a kid. That same vegetable is doing something remarkable inside your body right now. And if you happen to be in your 40s or beyond, the science on what broccoli does specifically to aging bodies is honestly kind of wild. We're not talking about vague, it's good for you advice. We're talking measurable changes in your hormones, your DNA, your inflammation levels, your cancer risk, that researchers have actually studied and published. So let's get into it. The sulforaphane conversation. The first thing you need to understand is that broccoli isn't just a vegetable. It's more like a chemical delivery system. The main active compound doing the heavy lifting is something called sulforaphane. When you chew broccoli, an enzyme called myrosinase converts a compound called glucoraphanin into sulforaphane. That's the molecule researchers have been genuinely excited about for 2 decades. A landmark study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that sulforaphane activates something called the NRF2 pathway. Think of it as your body's internal emergency response team. It switches on hundreds of protective genes that fight oxidative stress, detoxify carcinogens, and reduce inflammation at the cellular level. Here's why this matters more after 40. As we age, our NRF2 pathway gets sluggish. The exact moment in life when you need that cellular protection most is the same time your body is worst at producing it on its own. Sulforaphane essentially gives that pathway a jump start. One practical note: preparation matters. A Johns Hopkins study showed that lightly steaming broccoli for 3 to 4 minutes preserves the enzyme. Boiling kills it almost completely. Raw or lightly steamed is where you want to be. What it does to inflammation. Let me talk about something affecting almost everyone over 40, whether they know it or not. Chronic low-grade inflammation. Scientists call it inflammaging, a slow, persistent background level of inflammation that quietly accelerates aging and drives conditions like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, and arthritis. You don't feel it like a fever, but it's doing damage. A study in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics found that cruciferous vegetable consumption was significantly associated with lower levels of C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, 2 key inflammatory markers. A randomized controlled trial out of UCLA went further after participants consumed a broccoli sprout beverage daily. Researchers measured a significant reduction in those same markers in just 2 weeks. If you're dealing with stiff joints in the morning, afternoon, energy crashes, or slower recovery from anything, inflammation is almost certainly part of that story. Broccoli is one of the most accessible, evidence-backed tools. You have to address it. The cancer risk data. I want to address something health videos either overstate or avoid. Cancer risk in broccoli. The data is real. The American Cancer Society's Continuous Update Project found consistent evidence linking higher cruciferous vegetable intake to reduced risk of colorectal, lung, prostate, and breast cancer. A Harvard study following over 47,000 men found those who ate cruciferous vegetables more than 5 times per week had significantly lower bladder cancer risk. Here's the mechanism. Sulforaphane promotes something called apoptosis in cancer cells, programmed cell death, where your body eliminates abnormal cells before they can develop into tumors. In healthy cells, this doesn't happen. Sulforaphane appears to selectively target the damaged ones. This is not a cure, but the word chemoprotective appears consistently across peer-reviewed research. And after 40, when your cellular repair mechanisms are slowing, building that protection into your diet is one of the most rational things you can do. Hey, if you're finding this useful, do me a favor and hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps more people in their 40s find this kind of content. And that's exactly who needs to see it. Okay, back to it. Your heart and hormones. Let's talk about your heart. A study in the British Journal of Nutrition tracked over 1,200 women and found that those with the highest cruciferous vegetable intake had significantly less calcium buildup in their aorta, one of the most direct measurable markers of cardiovascular disease risk. A separate clinical trial found that eating broccoli regularly for 3 months significantly reduced total cholesterol levels. Now, a section that's particularly relevant for women in their 40s. Though men, this applies to you too. Broccoli contains a compound called indole-3-carbinol, or I3C, which converts in the body to DIM. Both influence how your liver metabolizes estrogen. As women approach perimenopause, I3C and DM help push estrogen metabolism toward a safer, more protective pathway, away from the form associated with hormonal cancers. A study from the National Cancer Institute linked higher I3C intake to significantly reduced risk of estrogen-sensitive breast cancer. For men, DM also helps manage the excess estrogen that builds as testosterone declines with age, linked to belly fat, fatigue, and reduced energy. So for both sexes, the hormonal case for broccoli after 40 is real. Your gut and your brain. Two more things, and then I'll pull this all together. Your gut microbiome changes significantly after 40. Diversity drops, protective strains decline. Broccoli's fiber feeds beneficial bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, critical for gut lining integrity. A study published in Gut found that higher, cruciferous vegetable consumption was associated with a measurably more diverse and resilient microbiome. And the brain connection is genuinely surprising. Sulforaphane crosses the blood-brain barrier, which is unusual for a compound from food. Clinical research has shown real neurological activity, and multiple studies have found sulforaphane reduces neuroinflammation and shows early promise in slowing cognitive decline. The human trials are still developing, but the direction of the evidence is consistent. None of this requires a supplement or a $200 green powder. We're talking about a vegetable, affordable in almost every country in the world, that has been sitting there quietly being extraordinary. If you're in your 40s, your body is entering a phase where small, consistent choices start to really compound. Just 3 to 5 servings a week, lightly steamed with a little olive oil and lemon, and your cells will notice. The sulforaphane activates protective genes. The inflammation comes down, the gut thrives, the hormones balance more gracefully, the cardiovascular risk markers improve. It's not magic, it's just biology, and now you understand it. If this gave you something to think about, something to add to your next grocery run, then it did exactly what I wanted. And if you want more content like this, the actual science behind everyday choices that matter as we get older, hit subscribe. Everything here is grounded in real research, not trends, not hype. Just the stuff that's actually worth your time. I'll see you in the next one.